out of all of the picks for offensive rookie of the year, defensive comeback player, MVP, defensive player of the year, everything, I think this one is pretty much the biggest lock and my biggest conviction, and it's Jaden Daniels as the offensive rookie of the year. I think as long as he does not get injured and as long as he plays all the games, I don't see a world where he does not produce as the offensive rookie of the year, being able to run the ball and throw the deep ball better than any of the rest of these quarterbacks. He is my offensive rookie of the year. I would say he's got the best chance. Zach, I'll give it to you as your defensive or offensive rookie of the year.
So I would be betting on Jaden Daniels as the offensive rookie of the year. Just because his odds, I think, are plus 600 on FanDuel right now, which translates about, him needing like a 15% chance to get the award for that to be a good bet. But if I'm actually picking who I think is going to be offensive rookie, then I'm going to take Caleb Williams. But definitely, as far as the odds go, give me Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. The best value when it comes to betting, Jaden Daniels, 6-1 odds. He just has that potential to easily produce as the have the most stats and look the most electric and everything, and the eyes will just tell you it's him. I will say the Bears have a sneaky chance to make the playoffs. And Williams is obviously the betting favorite, though I don't think it's the best value. But if the Bears do somehow get in there and get into that 7 seed, I think it would just be a lock that doesn't matter really what Daniels does, that Williams would get it. Marty, I know that you're also on the Daniels train as well.
Yeah, I like Daniels a lot. A lot of the rookies this year, especially in the running backs, they don't even have well-defined roles. So we know Jaden Daniels is the starting quarterback. So for me, it's Daniels. I don't really have much more to add. Now let's move to the other side of the ball. Defensive rookie of the year. Eric, who do you like?
I think Anthony Richardson is going to completely run up the scoreboard where Liatu Latu has a chance for the most sacks of maybe any defensive player in the league, let alone defensive rookie in the league. Zach, what do you say?
I agree with you. Not about the Anthony Richardson running up the score, but I just think Latu has a lot of talent. He, burst off the line of scrimmage, looked great in the preseason. First defensive player taken in the draft. So that's my guy, Marcus.
Zach, you don't believe that Anthony Richardson has that upside?
No. Well, he has the upside, but do I think it's going to happen? No. Better fantasy player than real life.
No, I think
I'm nervous about Richardson as well, being a Colts fan, but giving somebody, you guys, a different player to look at for defensive rookie of the year, Dallas Turner there with the Vikings. The Vikings defensive scheme just promotes aggressiveness. Usually the players that win this award are going to be edge guys. They're going to be guys that rack up sacks, 7, 8, 10, 9, 10 plus sacks. I think Dallas Turner has that opportunity with the Vikings. Latu obviously went number 1 defensive player. He's got a chance, but he might also be facing double teams from the get-go, and that might limit his sack potential, or Dallas Turner might get to have that opportunity with aggressive Vikings defense to lead the rookies in sacks and win the award.
I have Latu as well, and it's all about Anthony Richardson running up the score. I'm with Eric on this one.
I would love that.
Yeah, I'm a Colts fan too, so let's go.
Let's do it. Let's go, Radar.
Comeback player of the year. Zach, kick us off.
Well, I'm going to go with the chalk pick here, and that's Aaron Rodgers, former MVP, coming back to a team that could easily, not only win the division, but the conference as well as the Super Bowl. He's my guy. Marcus?
I would have a question, Zach. So he's plus 140 now, I think, on most books. Would you bet him now? Would you wait? Maybe they lose to San Francisco week 1, and then his odds, you would think, would get worse. I think Rodgers would be the most pick, consistent straight up pick. But as far as value goes, is it something you want to wait on?
I don't know that a loss to San Francisco is going to move the needle too much. So I would probably just get it in now. I mean, I think there comes a point where, you wait too long and that those odds just go to basically,
it's still plus money
odds
right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's still plus money. And, I think he has a pretty high chance, barring a disaster season for the Jets.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. A long shot that I really like is Kyler Murray. I've been not shy about how much I'm all in on Kyler Murray this year. He's 25-1 on most books. Just a $10 bet, you won 250 there. I think he has a real shot to remind everybody why he was top 5, at least in fantasy, quarterback producer. And if Arizona can just sneak out some games, even steal 7 seed, I think that 7 seed in the NFC is kind of up for grabs for anybody. If Arizona comes out and gets it, all of a sudden Kyler at the end of the year is going to be, I think, neck and neck with probably Rodgers or anybody else there. That it could be a real good return on value. Marty, you got somebody different or?
Not different. I have Rodgers as well. The thing is he doesn't even have to put up tremendous stats to win this. I mean, if the Jets go 14-2 or something like that, and he has decent numbers, which he probably would if they have that record, I think he's gonna take this one. Eric, any thoughts?
Yeah, I would say pretty much anyone with a brain should be taking Aaron Rodgers. But I would say this, out of all of these bets, that is the least one I'm going to make, because I hate to take Aaron Rodgers at plus 155 with the only way he loses is if he gets injured. And if he gets injured, I will say I do like a long shot at Deshaun Watson coming back. I think he played very well in the final 6 weeks last year. So if we can see the old form of Deshaun Watson, I think that's a long horse that we could potentially come back from the comeback player. Moving on to MVP. Out of all the players in the league, who is going to be our MVP? Typically, it's a quarterback. Marcus, who do you have as our MVP this year?
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a bold prediction here and take Jared Goff. I think he's over plus 2,000 in a lot of books. I think the Lions are going to finish as the 1 seed in the NFC. And if we look back on the award, obviously, historically, it's a quarterback that wins the award. And it usually goes along with the team that gets the 1 seed in either conference. That's usually a very correlated thing there. So if I think the Lions are going to be the 1 seed in the NFC and Goff's at plus 2,000, sign me up for that as a long shot to surprise everybody and win MVP. Marty, who do you got?
I have Patrick Mahomes, and I mean, this is kind of an obvious one, but I mean, I think he's got a really high chance at winning it. It's not a bet that I'm making a lot, kind of like Eric with Aaron Rodgers, just because of the odds do factor that in. And there's a lot of other guys out there who have a chance. Eric, who are you liking?
I like Patrick Mahomes. I think he won the Super Bowl last year with little to no weapons at all. And now he's got so many more weapons. How could we not see him come back and just absolutely destroy everybody in the NFL? It isn't even fair that now they have Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown. I don't think much people is going to have a chance against him. I don't think he's going to win the Super Bowl. I don't think he's going to be able to three-peat, but I do think he is going to destroy people this year.
Yeah, I agree basically 100% with what Eric just said. But I'll add one thing with Mahomes, and that's I even like him at his odds. I think he's somewhere around plus 450. To me, that's still a pretty good deal. I think he's just going to go out and have a prime Patrick Mahomes season. So let's move on to Defensive Player of the Year. What do we think, Marcus?
Yeah, sticking with my theme of the Lions being the number 1 seed in the NFC, I'm going to go with Aiden Hutchinson to lead the league in sacks and become the Defensive Player of the Year. If Goff isn't, doing it with the offense, I think the defense is definitely going to carry the Lions. Aiden Hutchinson for me. I know he's at least 11-1 on DraftKings, if not higher than that. So just a really good long shot, good odds there, I think, in my mind. Marty, who do you got?
I like Hutchinson as well. I'm gonna running up the score. We got that going on here too, getting those sacks. Eric, who do you like?
For the Defensive Player of the Year, I like Micah Parsons. I think Micah Parsons is going to be after people this year, running a 4.41, 99th percentile 40-yard dash, 100th percentile speed score. This guy has all the athletic measurables. I just think he's going to be completely after it. I think Dallas is going to be able to score at will with CeeDee Lamb, and I think he's going to be able to get after the quarterback. Now he's playing linebacker, he's playing on the line, but we've also seen him playing some running back in practice. So I think this is a voting thing. So even though he's not playing defense, I think he might get some votes if he starts getting some offensive touchdowns, even though he is a defensive player.
Is that a bet you can make? Over under a half a touchdown for Parsons this year?
I haven't seen that, but I would take it. I think there's a chance. If you looked at his
we saw JJ Watt do it.
He looked great in high school playing running back. Great.
Are you at all concerned about Dan Quinn leaving the Dallas Cowboys and what that might do to that defense?
Yes.
No, I am not. I think Micah Parsons is going to get after it on any defense. You just put him on whatever defense you want, and he's going to be able to get after the ball.
I think the Defensive Player of the Year award is usually going to go to one of the top defenses. I'm not sure Dallas is going to be that this year, but one team that I do think will have a very good defense and have a very good overall team is the New York Jets. And who's the best defensive player on the New York Jets? That'd be Sauce Gardner. Now, cornerback doesn't typically win this award, but a few years ago, Stephon Gilmore did. So it is a possibility. And you can get Sauce Gardner at like plus 6,000 to win Defensive Player of the Year. So not a guy that I'm going to put a lot of money on, but I think he's like a fun, long shot bet to make. So now that we've kind of wrapped up the awards, who do we like for the Super Bowl? Marty?
I'm all in on the Lions, and I have the Lions winning the Super Bowl. Eric?
I picked Jalen Hurts as my best quarterback, and I'm going with the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. I think they got Barkley coming into town. Is this going to put them up to the next level where they got a chance to win this thing?
I'm sticking with the Jets here. Not necessarily my straight up pick to win the Super Bowl, but they're who I like with the odds, about plus 1,900. So give me the Jets. Marcus?
Yeah. So for me, we are going to see the three-peat. Chiefs will beat the Lions in the Super Bowl. A debate that I don't think we need to get into now. I already think Mahomes is better than Brady, but I think after this year, when Mahomes three-peats, I think everybody will start to see that, yes, Mahomes is better than Brady. Again, discussion for a different time, but give me Chiefs over Lions.
Sure, we'll have that discussion plenty times.
So moving on to predictions for the primetime games. We got 4 of them this week. Just week 1, it's always the best, and they're going to give us an extra primetime game this week, so that's great. So if we're going to start chronologically, go with Baltimore and Kansas City. I'd like to hear who you guys think is going to win the game. Eric, who do you got?
I got the Chiefs. I think they're going to absolutely murder everyone in the league like the New England Patriots did when they had their best season. They didn't win the Super Bowl, but they destroyed everyone in the regular season. That's what I see coming from the Chiefs. So where you have them winning the Super Bowl, I've got the Eagles, but I think they're going to absolutely destroy people in the regular season. I don't even think it's going to be fair.
As someone who has Patrick Mahomes in a lot of fantasy leagues this year, I hope he, puts up this Tom Brady numbers from that year. But I'm also going with the Chiefs. I don't think they're going to murder the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to come out and run the ball well. Interested to see what Derrick Henry can do on that new offense. Marcus?
I'm going to go with the Chiefs as well, sticking, if I think they're going to win the Super Bowl, this is a game that's going to get them there to get that home field advantage in the playoffs. But I do think it'll be low scoring, a very close game. I do think Baltimore's +3. That might be an interesting side to take, even though I think the Chiefs are going to win. It's the Ravens, I think, are putting, especially Lamar, a lot of the stuff's been going out, making it seem like it's an important game. And obviously it is an important game, but I think they're putting just a lot of pressure on themselves where the Chiefs been there, done that. I think they'll not want to have what happened last year where the Lions came in and beat them on opening night. I think the Chiefs come in focused this year and take the win. Marty, you got anybody different?
Nope. Chiefs as well. Nothing new to add. Let's move on next to Green Bay, Philadelphia. Zach, who do you like there?
Give me Philly. I think the Eagles are going to be really tough to beat this year. And like I said, I'm not quite sold on Jordan Love as being like the next franchise quarterback. We'll see how that goes though. Marcus, do you agree?
Yeah, I actually am a little bit sold on Jordan Love, and I have the Packers winning this game. I think they're the better, more complete team. The Eagles, especially at the end of last year, were one of the worst teams at stopping quarterbacks in the past. I think Love will be able to kind of just do whatever he wants. They'll scheme up the perfect plays for him. He's got a lot of weapons there too. And it's not a home game, right? It's in Brazil. I think Packer fans travel well. I'm sure Eagles fans will too, but I just think that it's set up well for the Packers to start out with a week 1 W. Marty, who do you got?
I'm on the Eagles as well. Eric?
Yeah, I'd take the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. Eagles to win the game by 10 points. And for the next game, we got Detroit versus the who's Detroit?
The Rams.
I don't know. No, I don't see it on the screen. The Rams versus Detroit. Zach, who do you got winning that game?
Eric, I believe that was your must-watch game of the week. But I'm taking the Lions.
I've got a little. Okay.
I'm taking the Lions. I'm a little worried about the Rams this year, just in general. Matt Stafford's getting old. Hasn't really been, the quarterback that he was a few years ago. Plus, I just think the Lions are in for a great season. Basically, check every box. Do you agree with that, Marcus?
Yeah, 100%. They're my 1 seed in the NFC this year. I think the Rams are going to be very good competing with the Niners for their division. But give me the Lions at home. Marty, I don't think it's going to be a surprise who you're on.
Yeah, I'm on the Lions. I got the Lions to win the Super Bowl. I got the Lions to win this game. I'm on all the fantasy guys. I'm just all in on the Lions. Eric, who do you have?
Well, I got the Lions as well. Now I know who everybody's playing. I'll take the Lions in this game. And let's move on to the next game. We got San Francisco versus New York. I know who we're playing there, and I'm going to take the 49ers. I'm not a big fan of Purdy, but I think they're going to pull this off. And I think Malik Neighbors is going to put on a show for you guys in week 1 where you will believe that he's better than Marvin Harrison after this week.
I think you got the wrong New York team, Eric. It's the Jets.
Ah. You can't do these transitions. You guys do it.
So
I'll take the 49ers versus any Jets team. Okay, there we go. Moving on. Who do you got, Zach?
Neighbors too.
Neighbors will put on a show, just won't be against the 49ers.
He's going in for Slick Ricky.
I like the 49ers here. It's a home game. If it wasn't for that, I'd probably pick the Jets. And if I'm playing the odds or maybe even the spread, I think I'd take the Jets. I think it's going to be a really close game. But straight up, give me the Niners. What about you, Marcus?
You both are wrong. Give me the Jets. I think the Jets have a very good opportunity to catch the Niners at the wrong time. A lot of players who they just signed, Ayuk, Trent Williams, these guys, I don't think they're going to be ready for week 1. I just think it's a great opportunity. Rodgers is going to be focused. He's been ready for week 1 since the Monday night game he got hurt last year. Give me the Jets straight up to win at the plus money as well. Marty, you want to tell them why they're wrong as well?
Yes, I am on the Jets as well. I think the Jets are going to come out with Aaron Rodgers. They're going to come out swinging. They're going to make a statement. This is a tough game in San Francisco. They're traveling across the country. It's a tough spot, but I think they're going to pull through and make a big statement here.
AFC East. Who do we got winning the AFC East? I got the Dolphins. I'll give it to you, Zach. Do you think anyone else has a chance, or is the Dolphins going to run away with this one?
I definitely think 2 other teams have a chance, as a matter of fact. And one of those is the Jets, and that's who I'm taking. What about you, Marcus?
Yeah, give me the Jets as well. I actually expect Buffalo to have a little bit of a down year and not even make the playoffs. I think it'll be between the Jets and the Dolphins when it comes down to it. I think this Jets team is just after what happened last year, it gave them a chance to really focus and rebuild, retool, give them extra weapons to go out and say, like, this is who we were supposed to be last year. I just think Rodgers is going to definitely be on a mission and win the AFC East. Marty, who you got?
I have the Jets as well. I think they're going to come out and make that statement game this week. And then I think that momentum is going to carry through the rest of the season and they're going to win the division. Now let's move on to the AFC South, starting with Eric.
Some people might think this is kind of a hot take, but they asked Will Levis, are you nervous for your first game? And he said, I don't get nervous. So I think this whole team is built around Will Levis. They got receivers. They got pass catching running backs. I think Will Levis is going to put on a real show for CJ Stroud and the Texans. Who do you got winning this one, Zach?
I could not disagree more, Eric. I think the Titans are going to be picking top 5 in next year's draft. But for this division winner, I'm going to take the Texans. Hard to go against them after seeing what we saw from CJ Stroud last year. They add Stephon Diggs. That offense is going to be potent. I think the Jags and Colts will challenge them, put on some good games, give them a good run for the money, but ultimately can't bet against the Texans here.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Marty and I are both on the Texans. They're the chalk team. They're the superpower on offense. They've got a good defense. I think it would be very surprising if anybody else pulled that out in the division for the AFC South. Moving on to the AFC West, I think it might also be a little bit of a chalk division. But Marty, who do you got?
I'm on the Chiefs. I think we've talked about them enough. I don't really have a whole lot to add about Patrick Mahomes. Eric, what do you think?
We've already said it all. The Chiefs are going to run through everybody. Zach?
Yeah, Chiefs here. So I think we're all in the Chiefs. Let's move on to the AFC North. Marcus, who you got there?
Yeah, I was very torn. I wanted to take another bold prediction and go with the Bengals, but I am going to stick with the Ravens. Their team, both sides of the ball, is set up very well. Derrick Henry is going to be a candidate for 15, 20 even plus touchdowns. I think the Ravens offense is going to be very difficult to stop. Sometimes with the Bengals, they have injuries or it just seems like it's always been something a little bit the last couple of years. So give me the Ravens in a close battle. Marty?
I actually am going to go with that bold prediction and take the Bengals. It is true. Something always seems to go wrong, but this year, I think this year everything's coming in. We have a healthy Joe Burrow. I think he's going to be very eager to get his.
They have the easier schedule too.
Let's move on to Eric. Eric, what do you think?
Ravens. Enough said.
Yeah, Ravens for me too. So let's move on to the NFC. Who do we think is going to take down the NFC East, Marcus?
Yeah, I think everybody knows there's no such thing as a repeat winner in the NFC East. I think it's been over 20 years since the last time teams won it 2 years in a row, and that'll continue. I am going to stick with the Eagles. A dark horse contender is Washington. If the Eagles look more like the team the last month of last season than they did at the beginning of last year. But ultimately, I am going to stick with the Eagles just because on paper, their roster's too good to fail almost. Marty, who you got?
I have the Eagles as well. Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, I think one of the best two bets to make is the Chiefs to win the AFC West and the Eagles to win the NFC East. I think those are the two locks of all the division locks if you're going to put money down on one of these bets. Zach, do you also believe
I'm not
that?
sure anything's ever a lock in the NFC East, like Marcus said, but I am taking the Eagles. Not necessarily a vote of confidence for the Eagles, but more just I'm a little down on the Cowboys, and obviously tough to project the Commanders or Giants as that division winner. So let's move on to the NFC South. I think a lot of us like the Falcons with Kirk Cousins coming into town and getting to see what all his weapons can do with an actual quarterback. Does anybody have an argument to make with that? Or are we ready to move on or just skip this and go on to the West?
I think we're all in the Falcons. It is interesting. Yeah. The Bucs were the team that won the division last year. So are we just all expecting a combination of the Bucs to take a step down, Falcons to take a step up? Is it going to be a battle? Is it a 1st to 9 wins? What do you think?
I do think it's going to be a 1st to 9 wins type situation. And I also do think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to take a step back. That offense I think they played way better last year during stretches than what they really are. And I think they're going to take a step back. And the Falcons, I do find it interesting that we're all on the Falcons because I think this is going to be a very competitive division. But my money's on the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to be that competitive. I think the Falcons run away with it. Raheem Morris is my pick for Coach of the Year as well.
Wow. Do you have odds on that?
I don't remember what it was. It's something like, I want to say.
It's got to be a long shot.
Yeah, somewhat of a long shot. But if you think about it, it usually goes to a guy who comes in and elevates that team. I think that's going to kind of happen with Kirk Cousins. And Morris is going to get votes for that.
Yeah, no, I like that. I would say I'm more on Marty's side. I think it might just be a little bit more of a race to 9 or 10. I like the Falcons, but their first month of the season is a very difficult schedule, and Kirk Cousins hasn't done any playing time. Eric, you got anybody different?
No, I think it's going to be the Falcons, but I don't think it's going to be with Kirk Cousins. I think Michael Penix is going to come in, and he is going to get them to the end of it. It's not going to be the Kirk Cousins show all year. I think Kirk Cousins is going to find himself with an injury. Michael Penix is going to come in. They will not let this guy play in the preseason because he is playing too good. If they let the world see how good he is, they're going to be banging on the door to let him play on that team.
If if Penix leads them to a division title, let's say at least half the season, is he going to be rookie of the year? I wonder what his odds are.
Well,
I
the
don't think
problem,
so.
I just
No.
don't think he's going to be able to play the majority of the season. I think he's going to get a shortened stint of the season, which is going to hurt his chances for rookie of the year because Jaden Daniels is going to have so many passing yards and so many rushing yards, break the rookie rushing record, that I think it's going to be the Jaden Daniels for the rookie of the year.
Awesome. Well, moving on to the last two divisions here, NFC West and NFC North. I think we're all on the same teams, the 49ers and the Lions. Don't know if anybody has anything real, strong takes there. I do think the Rams are going to give the Niners a chance. I don't think the Niners are going to be as good as everybody expects them to be. They're still going to be elite, but not runaway NFC number one seed like they have been. Anybody have any different takes there with the NFC West?
49ers for me.
Same.
And then moving on to the NFC North, I think we've heard a lot about the Lions. I know that we're all on the Lions as well. I do think there's potential for 3 playoff teams out of the NFC North. I think all of them are going to be really good. Ultimately, I'm going to go with the chalk of the Lions, but it wouldn't shock me at all if, the Packers come out and show they're the best team in the NFC. I think both of them are really strong. Marty, who you got?
I too. I had the Lions as well there.
Yeah, Lions for me too, but I do think the Bears defense is a little underrated. Ever since they traded for Montez Sweat last year from the Commanders, he like elevated that defense to a new level. So I think they're going to be more competition in that division than they get credit for. Not enough to beat the Lions for the division title, but better than people think.
Is it crazy that we're all saying the Lions like 2-3 years ago? Weren't they always considered one of the worst franchises or teams in the league?
Things happen fast in the NFL, which is what makes it great.
That Dan Campbell hire really, really turned things around for them.
So we all got the
We all
Lions.
got the
it looks
Lions,
like.
yeah.
Lions
So-
and Malik Neighbors together.
Any playoff dark horses from you guys? Like I said, I kind of like the Bears. I think the NFC 7 seeds up for grabs. I think the Bears could get there. I think Washington could get there. Is there any surprises for you guys?
I
in
think
the NFC?
Arizona can get there. I think
Arizona.
that offense is going to be kicking all season. They do have some problems on the defensive end, but I just think that they can maybe be able to get to 10 wins or so and sneak in that to a wild card spot.
Probably delusional optimism from me, but I like the Commanders. I think Jaden's really going to spark that offense, and I just got to put some hope in Dan Quinn. He's going to turn that defense around and make them up more competitive.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think a lot of people overlook the Washington defense and what Quinn can do. Get some creative pass rushing going and not make it just have to be Daniels carrying the entire team. So anybody in the AFC that you guys might have any surprise playoff teams? AFC stacked. Somebody's going to have to miss it.
Yeah, I think it's more about surprising teams to miss it than it is surprising teams to make it. Because kind of like you said, the Bills might not make it, or
I have the Bills
least,
missing the playoffs.
Yeah, at least one team from that division. I mean,
yeah, and I think the Dolphins could miss it.
Yeah, that's what I feel like the Dolphins are more likely to miss than the Bills, but somebody's got to miss it between those 3 teams, and then the 3 teams from the AFC North. So it's going to be very competitive.
AFC's loaded.
And another team that I think a sneaky team is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They brought in Russell Wilson. I know he hasn't looked that great the last couple of years, but he still has a lot of veteran leadership, and he's way better he's a huge upgrade from what they had last year. And last year they were in the race. So
yeah,
great head coach.
I think the Jags could be a surprise team. Just all based on if Trevor Lawrence can take that step from being a good quarterback to a great quarterback. Coming out of the draft, he was pegged as like the next, Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning level prospect. We haven't quite seen that from him, but if he can elevate his game to where we all thought he could get to, we could definitely see the Jags pop.